Okay, today I'm going to make a start on my bench top, my kitchen bench. I'm making it out of a bunch of this 40-40 section. 40-40 is probably a little bit big, 30-30 would be more appropriate, but in New Zealand we're a bit limited for what we can get, so this is what it's going to be. It's cool stuff, so to make a right angle you can just put a coach bolt in it, slide that in, crack it up like that, and that's done. This is how I've done the feet for my battery, so all of the bench top's going to be built right on top of the battery. The problem with doing that though is you can't, once it's all bolted together, once the chassis of the bench top is all bolted together, you can't easily unscrew it and shift it a bit if you want to make alterations or whatever. So you can get these brackets here, and they're kind of cool, but they're kind of expensive, and realistically you need 2 for each upright, and so that'll add up in price quite badly. So what we'll do, we'll shoot back to the workshop. I'll make up some of my own design brackets. I thought I'd show you guys some of the equipment that I've got and how I machine stuff. So this here's my little machine center. I bought it pretty cheap, it didn't work, the electronics kept blowing up in it. I've re-gutted it, it's all just sort of held together with sticky tape and string at the minute. So I ripped all the electronics out of here. I'll show you inside here so you can see. I stripped it all and I rewired it with new drives and yeah, new controllers and stuff like that. It's just got a regular computer in it to drive it. Still not finished, but one day. So even though I know it's unlikely that most of you will have one of these at home, I'm still going to include the part files because they're pretty easy things to get laser cut, or you know, little desktop routers or anything like that will cut them out. So I'll include them down below. So now I'm just going to countersink the back in here, and for that I'm going to use a spotting drill. Alright, so the reason I'm going to use a spotting drill is because they've got a 90-degree included angle here, as opposed to like a regular drill with a 118-degree included angle. So the reason that's important is because these bolts have got a 90-degree angle in here, so that angle matches that angle. So I could just use a normal drill press for this, but I've got this milling machine here. So I'm coating the bench top in Danish oil. Danish oil is normally a mixture of tung oil and linseed oil. It is a polymerizing oil, which means that it hardens. It hardens to a satiny sort of finish. One of the things to be aware of with Danish oil though, there's not a true definition of what it is. So it could be a mixture of anything. It could be 100% synthetic, it could have anything in it at all. So check the ingredients, check the data sheet. If it has this symbol on it at all, which means it's carcinogenic, just buy something else. Okay, so we're back and we got a bunch of these things. So I'll show you how they go together quickly. First you thread a hole in the end of one of these. You do it fairly long because this hole isn't round and it's not fully structural, it's not as strong as a fully round hole, so I'm doing about 30mm long. So I'll do a future video on threading holes and tapping and stuff, but if you're intending to do a lot of tapping, don't buy one of these tap sets from a hardware store. They just don't work. So you'll end up threading them into a hole, they'll be going and ping, they'll just snap. Hand taps are just useless, so that's a thread type of a hand tap. And this is the tap that I recommend. It's called a spiral point tap or a gun tap. And it's got an angle on the front face there, the cutting face. And this is pretty much my whole tap set here. So I've got drills and taps in here. And those are just the general common sizes that I use. So although I'll go over this in a future video, I do recommend gun taps as opposed to hand taps. They're not likely to snap off, they'll last you a lot longer, and they'll work amazing. So I'll link down below for some gun taps, so you can sort of choose what you want and build your own little collection. This is a much better way to do it than those kits that you buy. When you're putting bolts in, especially if they're stainless steel bolts, you should always use some sort of an anti-seize, some sort of a grease on there. So in this case I'm going to use a thread locker. So the thread locker is kind of like a glue that you just put on the threads and it's going to help it stop coming undone. But secondly, and counterintuitively, putting this glue on the thread is actually going to make it be able to come undone. If I wanted to undo it, it's going to make it easier to pull it apart. And the reason for that is stainless steel has a tendency to cold weld onto things and gall and bind up. Now although it has a glue on it holding it, that glue is going to provide an interface layer to stop it from cold welding. Okay, so that's my little bracket just screwed on there, and then we just screw this one on here. That's our new little bracket. I think it's way cleaner than this style of thing and a lot cheaper for me, but yeah, I like that bracket a lot more. So for cutting this section, I just cut it on a drop saw with a bit of wax on the blade. You kind of need again a bit of lubricant on aluminium, or aluminium will bind on the blade and then you'll end up destroying your drop saw. It will seize on it and you might break the gearbox or put it out of whack. So here's another bracket I've quickly made up, just a bit of angle. I put 3 screw holes in the end here so that I can screw it up with three screws. I'm having 8 uprights. That gives us 24 screws to screw into. The screws are not going to be very long into the bench top, so I want lots of bite, so it's solid. Okay, let's get building it. So now I'll just have a go at placing the bench on. I haven't put Loctites on any of the bolts down except for the underneath ones, so I can undo them and just adjust the position of all the uprights. And then I'll put the cross members across. Okay, so I've run out of those little spring nuts that hold the channel in for the M6s. So I've only got half of those cross pieces in. So whenever you make a chassis of something, you've got to put triangles in it, you've got to put braces in it to strengthen it up. It makes an enormous difference on the rigidity of it. I want this quite strong because I'm quite a rough driver and it's going to have quite a lot of weight in it. So the idea with this, it'll bolt in on the uprights at a 45-degree angle and make it enormously stiffer. So I still have to put in a few cross beams down here, but those cross braces I've made, those diagonal braces I've made, have made a phenomenal difference to the rigidity of the the bench. It's stiff as can be. So the bench top I'm using here is a plywood. It's just a plywood. I don't really know how to do the kitchen layout very well. I figured I'll make it out of plywood, and then if I need to change it, it's not too horrific. I did get a price on some Korean top and it was horrific, but I think the plywood's cool. It's a maple veneer ply by Colombian Forest Products. Pretty cool plywood. It's actually got no formaldehyde in it. The maple veneer on it though is very, very thin, very easy to break. I know I'm going to get lots of criticism about having the induction hob right next to the sink. I know it doesn't quite feel right, but I quite like the idea because you can put wet objects here. It's not, the wet objects aren't going to be on the wood, and you know, you can put your fill up your pot with water while it's still on the sink and stuff like that. I don't know. So I've rebaited the plywood where the induction hob fits in, so it's just above level from the bench, so it can be just used as a bench space. There's no real discernible lump there. With regards to the batteries, a few people were kind of interested in a bulk buy, a group buy for these batteries to get them at a good rate. I've emailed the supplier, a supplier I got them from, and they haven't responded. I might email them again. Don't know what's happening there. I've had a few Chinese suppliers contact me and want to distribute their cells through me. I'm only really comfortable people spending their money on a product that I personally bought and I've tested and it's fine. I don't want to be a shield for someone else. So the reason I built that pack and the reason I wanted those cells, because I wanted the most rugged, reliable battery chemistry I could get hold of. So one of the issues with that cell chemistry is that it is quite expensive as $1 per kilowatt hour cost, because you know it's not a mass produced cell. So if you guys are interested in seeing me build a large capacity cheap version battery, let me know and I might do it. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.